Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Dog Pounded, and with me today, because he's a fellow dog, is my good friend Manny Cruz, the Tootie Tenor. Say hi.
I taught a putty tat. I was gonna say something clever. I'm like, fine, I'll just do a generic Tweety impression.
But in any case, as mentioned, this is a review for Dog Pounded, released on the 2nd of January 1954. It had a blue ribbon reissue sometime in 1963. It's the 699th in the series and it's directed by Friz Freleng. You can find this restored on, weirdly enough, on the Looney Tunes Superstars Pepe Le Pew DVD set. We'll definitely explain why in a few moments, yeah? But more appropriately, it's on the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection Volume 3 DVD and Blu-ray set where you can get it in high definition. You won't see it here on YouTube. It is under copyright. It'll just get taken down. But in case you haven't seen this one, it's got the most in-depth synopsis ever where Sylvester is hungry. He spots Tweety. So what's the problem? Tweety's up in a tree at a dog pound. And we just get gags revolving around that. Now, I may have said it in such a flat way, but let me tell you, the cartoon itself, magnificent. And we'll go through that as well. So, as for trivia, the reason this short is on that Looney Tunes Superstars Pepe Le Pew set, which, as I mentioned in a few reviews, do not watch that disc all at once. You will go insane. It is not the right way to watch Pepe Le Pew shorts, assuming you even want to watch those, but that's another thing entirely. But the reason it's there is that this is the only time that Pepe Le Pew has appeared in a Friz Freleng short in the Golden Age. So it's interesting to see another unit take on Chuck Jones's character. Pepe does appear in Bugs Bunny's Looney Christmas Tales in one of the wraparound sequences where there was two shorts directed by Friz and then one by Chuck. But I don't know if Friz did the wraparound sequences. So if someone knows, they can let me know in the comments. But this one might seem familiar to a lot of you if you've seen the short Ain't She Tweet, because it's a very similar premise where you got Granny, she buys Tweety, and Sylvester tries to get Tweety, but she owns so many dogs, which is really ridiculous how many dogs she actually owns. At least in this short, it's a dog pound, so it makes sense. Why they're all bulldogs? Well, because they are. There's a bulldog infestation. I don't know. But clearly, it's just due to them being able to then reuse certain things from HE Tweet, like that still painting of the bulldogs, the Pacey Bus Sylvester. So there's a lot of reuse here. So that's why the dog pound only has bulldogs. So there we are. So Manny, before this one, we recorded the Cat's Bar. We wanted to get that one out of the way. You said to me that this short was a palate cleanser.
Yes. I don't know, I just imitated Miss Prissy. Wrong unit. But I was saying not only it was a palate cleanser in more than one way because, well, one of the things that I kept thinking about when we were watching, we just recorded the commentary for the Cat Spa, a Jones short. And I'm not a fan of the cartoon, and I'm just not a big fan of Pepe Le Pew in general. But the artistry was, Chuck Jones was hands down the best in just terms of overall artistic work. The backgrounds, the animation, the poses, the layouts, all that. Jones was the undisputed champ, hands down. And then you see a Freeling short, and Freeling is the king of economy. The animation, it's more economical. The constant use of stills in this cartoon, it was distracting, but God, this was funny. And it's a testament to Freeling's sense of time, Warren Foster's writing, the layouts that Hawley Pratt did. Again, this is not the fanciest looking cartoon. Like Jones' cartoon will beat a Freeling and a McKimson short in this time period, hands down when it comes to the actual quote unquote artwork. But man, this was funny. I am biased in the sense that I enjoy the pre 1948 library more than the post 48 because I grew up seeing more of those cartoons. I saw a lot of the black and white shorts on Nickelodeon. I saw a lot of the AAP shorts on TNT and TBS growing up. I have an affinity for those, especially in terms of the artwork, because speaking of Jones, I mean, I recently was watching Sniffles Bells the Cat. It's not a great short, but man, the thing is beautiful to look at. And then you jump ahead years later to this Freeling one. I say, yeah, it doesn't look as pretty, but again, the fact that Freeling was just so good at his comedic timing, and this is a pleasant surprise. And going on with the whole post 48 thing, I wasn't the biggest fan of Sylvester and Tweety shorts. I think mainly because Tweety, I like Bob Clampett Tweety, not Freeling Tweety. But the past few shorts that you brought me on that are Sylvester and Tweety shorts have been a pleasant surprise. And I'm like, yeah, I can see why people like these so much because they're really funny. They're going to be a better experience than watching all the Pepe Le Pew shorts back to back because at least the Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, and Sylvester and Tweety shorts, on the whole, in my opinion, are funnier than Pepe shorts.
And even as we go along and the Sylvester Tree shots become even more economical, at the end of the day, these are still just purely funny. And yeah, this one I was pleasantly surprised because I thought, oh, as soon as I saw the Bulldog part when I was just quickly scrolling through before I actually went and watched it and analyzed it for this review, and I was like, they're redoing that idea, but thankfully it is different. Yes, it's still got heaps of Bulldogs, and yes, they're doing it for economical reasons. Man, this is funny. So I reckon we take a look at this short from start to finish because I really like this one. But the only weird part of this is that title card artwork, which makes no real sense. I mean, it looks nice, the simplistic dog catcher and all that stuff. It's got nothing to do with the cartoons. So I don't know if it was just a generic piece of art that just slapped on there and called it a day because of the shutdown. Because this is the first short release after the studio reopened, by the way.
And I'm getting the feeling that this title card, that template of the dogs and whatever has been used before, like that orange background. Maybe I'm wrong, but hey, Frizz was economical. This is just like boom, generic font, just get to the point kind of thing. And then you start watching the cartoon. It doesn't look fancy, but you become pleasantly surprised at the humor of it.
I do like the mood when it opens. The mood where it's like Sylvester being sad. We hear some sad music in the background.
Have you been peeking at the cue sheet? Aha, because you just gave away a huge clue. And what's the name of the song you hear in the very beginning with Sylvester? It is Melancholy Mood.
Oops, pardon me.
Perfect. Hey, you said it's a sad mood, melancholy mood.
There we are.
Aha.
And there we are.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs in a Warner Brothers short, by the way. So when I heard that, I was like, yeah, I love this
Yay.
song.
Yeah, and I like the added touch
Yay.
of Sylvester lifting up the trash can. As you guys say, we say rubbish bin, you guys say trash can. And the cat's already inside looking like, hey, do you mind? You know,
That was funny.
yeah, a nice little mood starter. He goes, "Oh, sorry." And then we see in the next shot, Sylvester's still depressed, but I noticed the way it was staged. You've got the light pole intentionally there as to not give away the punchline to what this place actually is, because you can see the sign, it clearly says dog pound or city dog pound, but the light pole is covering it. So I thought, wow, they really thought ahead with this one because it could have been a case where maybe if you didn't see it in the theater at the time because of the grain might have covered it or whatever, but no, they actually went one step further and they covered it with the light pole, which I thought was pretty good. And yet again, it's a Warren Foster written short, so we got to have a character singing a song, right? So, what song is Tweety singing?
Good old Moonlight Bay.
We were going along on Moonlight Bay. We could hear the banjo strumming. They came to stay.
It's always nice hearing Tweety sing, and, Moonlight Bait's another Warner Brothers classic. Tweety singing it, or I think of the fish from Porky's Duck Hunt singing that one. Oh, a nice classic, Warner Brothers classic, and just Mel Blanc doing his Tweety voice along with it's always a pleasant thing to hear.
Yeah, I noticed Warren Foster does that a lot in his shorts. He will always have someone singing, whether it's Foghorn in the recent one that he wrote for McKimson before the shutdown, Bugs Bunny. Yeah, he always seems to do that. But hey, nothing wrong with that. It's just an interesting thing he likes to do. But that animation of Sylvester getting all excited that he's going to eat a bird, that's a great one to freeze frame, by the way. I just love the animation in that one scene. Just delivery that, you know, always love when Mel Blanc does that. He's done that in so many shorts as well. So Sylvester's like, yep, simple. I'm going to get the bird. He goes inside this place, and then the camera just pans right really quickly. Oh, it's a dog pound. Yeah, we know what to expect, right, Manny?
Dogs, and lots of them.
We get a kind of sort of repeated bit from Ancient Tweed where he's looking over, he sees that reuse of that dog painting. He's then pacing, but then he looks inside and ouch, he gets his face almost eaten. And we even get the blood too if you look very closely in this HD version too. Like those red lines
Or
and look
maybe
the
oh,
cuts.
The
Yeah,
scratches, okay, yeah, the cuts.
yeah. So it's not
Okay.
dripping blood like you would see in a horror movie, but yeah, there's definitely blood there.
Well, there was 8 Ball Bunny when the scene where Bugs saves Playboy Penguin from being eaten inside the ship, and in the HD version, you the chickens that were already, like, prepared to be eaten, whatever, and you see blood, and I'm like, "Whoa, I've never noticed that before." That's why when you mentioned it, I was like, "Ooh," it's, like, a little gruesome, isn't it?
Yeah,
And another thing that's funny is I love whenever Sylvester paces and just the music that Carl Stalling puts up, the boom, 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 that nice little staccato thing going on. Always get a kick out of that.
yep. And I need to note down it's called staccato. I got to note that down for future reviews because I keep forgetting the name.
Staccato
Staccato.
means short and detached. Legato is, for example, if I sing it, I'll sing it two different ways. If I go la 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 la, that's legato. It's long connected. Staccatos. Or as I tell people, easy way of remembering how staccato sounds. Think of "In the Hall of the Mountain King." Bum 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 bum. Perfect piece of music that explains staccato well. Little music lesson.
There we are. So we've set up our premise. We know what the rest of the short is going to be. Nothing complicated, nor does it have to be. So that's all fine. So now we're into it. So the first one is a simple one. Sylvester going up on a wire with an umbrella. Of course, what do they play in the music cue? They play.
She was an acrobat's daughter. Na, 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 na.
Here comes the daring young cat on the flying trapeze.
See, look, I know some people consider that to be cliche. Chuck Jones wasn't always the biggest fan of when Carl Stalling would do something like that. Oh, well, he's walking on a tightrope, so let's put on She Was an Acrobat's Daughter. I don't care. That makes me laugh every time I hear it. And I was watching the scene and I hear She Was an Acrobat's Daughter, and I just start grinning from ear to ear. And you hear it twice in this cartoon. It's used later on in the short, but yeah, I love this song. And, of course, there's the merry melody, She Was an Acrobat's Daughter, that Freleng also directed. I guess Friz really liked this song in particular too, and I mean, it's a great song too, so I've always liked, She Was an Acrobat's
And
Daughter.
you have to wonder how powerful are those Bulldogs Bretts here to cause Sylvester to fly off the wire like that. But anyway, so
That's amazing. I'm listening to the scene real quick, and the instrument that it's so funny. The instrument that's playing the melody in that scene is a trombone, and yeah, trombone quite a bit of air to play that instrument. So I don't know if that was a nice little cheeky musical joke that Stalling. I mean, he could have put like a flute or a clarinet to play the melody, but no, he had a trombone doing it so beautifully. I guess these dogs are trombone players on the side.
and now we go on to one of my favorite bits of this short where Sylvester digs a tunnel. I mean, let's put aside how ridiculous this idea actually is. Okay, because I don't know why you'd build a tunnel. But how strong is he? That ain't easy to dig a tunnel like that. So Sylvester's one strong cat. But anyway, well, cartoon logic. Yes, yes, I know. And I just love, and as you already pointed out, how economical Freeze is. So of course, Sylvester's digging, digging, digging. But then we see the dogs there very briefly, just a still pose with mining helmets on. I cracked it when I saw that.
I just paused that scene right there. Yep, Frizz is the king of less is more.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It's like they're all waiting for him. Somehow they knew they'd build a tunnel, and they even have the helmets, like all of them. Okay, sure. But what's really interesting is that I thought they were going to do the whole, yeah, the fight's going to happen off screen, and we just see the screen shake and all that, which does happen. But then we actually do see some attack animation, which is another great one to freeze frame, where Sylvester's trying to get out of this hole, and the dogs are fighting him and that. And then what? So Sylvester now tries to bury the dogs alive by filling up that hole again. But anyway, great scene. I was cracking it when I saw that. I thought that was hilarious, just how stupid that is.
In that scene in particular, it's something that I thought was kinda interesting that right in near the end where he's, like, attacking he's like, "Down, down," or he doesn't say it, but, like, pushing the dogs down and burying them. But just, like, a little interesting touch, and I don't know if you caught it, that one of the dogs is, like, climbing out, and he grabs his shovel, and he pushes the dog back into the hole, like, putting the shovel on the dog's chest, and I thought that was interesting little detail that I don't know, I'm not good at identifying animators, but that was a nice little touch that whoever the animator in that scene was that as opposed to just, like, hitting the dog in the head, That was interesting.
We can't have a Sylvester and Tweety short without Sylvester doing some sort of disguise. And okay, he doesn't cross dress in this one, but man, that dog costume is so stupid. So stupid. I love that. And, he goes in a bit of a twist. See, at first, it's like you think the dogs have actually falling for this, even when the hat falls off and all that sort of stuff. But no, one of the dogs is like, "Nah, I'm not buying this," and then they just attack him anyway, which I thought was a nice little twist. I mean, they could have ended the gag right there, and it would have been just a nice little quickie gag, and there's nothing wrong with it. But no, we get the beautiful topper of Sylvester being caught by a dog catcher who's clearly stupid, and he's thrown back in. Wow.
When I was watching it, because I'm trying to remember if I've seen this one prior to this recording, but right when Sylvester runs away and the complete silence felt very long, but yet very fast at the same time because I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like it caught my attention. I was like, whoa, what's going to happen? And then, of course, you hear, oh, where is my little dog gone? And I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun.
We can't have you dogs roaming the streets, you know.
Again, Friz, hands down the master of timing. It was long enough to build the suspense of like, wait, what's gonna happen? But also short enough so it didn't kill the joke and it kept the momentum of the joke going. Brilliant.
It is absolutely fantastic, and it's another repeated gag, if you will, from H.E. Tweet. Because in H.E. Tweet, a kindly man feels sorry for Sylvester. I'll put you back in, and he throws him over, and the dogs attack him. Where in this case, yeah, Sylvester gets caught, he gets thrown back in. So it's a reuse, yet not a reuse, if that makes sense. But yeah, it definitely reminded me. But both are funny in different ways. Then we get a very quickie gag where Sylvester looks over the fence. One of the dogs gets out. Sylvester's knocked in. I mean, this sort of gag, it's quick, it's funny, but it's also a very silent era type gag, I've noticed. I mean, it is what it is, but I thought it was funny. Then we get a hypnotism gag where, just to put it into context, I'm not going to go into too in depth here, but hypnotism was huge at the time in relation to sci-fi and pulp culture as something like a new frontier in psychology, that sort of thing. I also love how confident Sylvester is. He goes in and uses hypnotism to make the dogs freeze in midair. That's not how hypnotism works, Freeling, but hey, we'll go with it, right? That's not how it works. But anyway, okay. So Sylvester gets Tweety, right? And he finally gets Tweety and he's like, "Oh, you think I'm gonna tell you that it's a police whistle that gets him out of this?" And you think, "Oh yeah, this is the gag's gonna end here. That's yes, the Tweety will blow the police whistle and game over." But no, we get the topper where Sylvester traps him with the glass. Then he gets a pinprick. Then he gets a police whistle. Then the dog's scared him. So yeah, it's a nice little topper on a topper.
Yeah, this is again because Friz never reuses jokes, but I like right when you think Tweety's gonna blow the whistle and just the sound completely cuts off when he's trapped in the glass. Same thing happened where Tweety's underneath the glass and he manages to escape. And that scene too, where the gift that keeps on giving Mel Blanc, the yell that he makes when Tweety pricks him with the needle. "Woo!" So funny. It's just the momentum of that gag just keeps building and building and building and building. And I also like the payoff too, like when the dogs like they slowly start snapping out of their hypnotism, and I love how the way it's drawn.
And as you say, it's an excuse for Friz Freleng to just have still drawings as well. So that worked out for him too, to keep things economical, which worked out really well. So, we get into a nice little surreal joke where, okay, so the Sylvester walks in, the dogs aren't around for some weird reasons. Like, okay, so Sylvester climbs up the tree and then we see all the dogs there. So this one's a very Tex Avery type gag. It's just so surreal, so stupid, but man, I laughed at it. It was so good. But you normally don't associate Friz with doing that kind of gag, but hey, he did it here and it works.
I was like, "Whoa!" See, I paused that scene right there. He said, "Looks at boom." Again, dogs don't move. They don't do anything, and it still sells the joke. Love it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And next one, you get like a Roadrunner style gag with the rocket. And of course, Tweety says Woody Cat thinks he's Buck Rogers, which was a sci-fi character, fits the silent era basically in radio and so on. But we saw a similar rocket style gag in HE Tweet, right? Where the rocket fails, right? But here, it's a
Yeah.
repeat of the gag, but it's an improvement because we get a better aftermath with Sylvester. So Freeze, yes, has a tendency to reuse gags, but a lot of the time he makes better, in my opinion at least.
I like the payoff for this one. When the rocket just blew off, I was cracking up at just the aftermath.
Okay. So now Sylvester tries a swing, and we all know how this is going to end. It's a more or less a quickie gag. Again, a similar gag was used in H.E. Tweed, although it's more in concept. So in H.E. Tweed, he's in a bucket, and the bucket just sinks down to where the dogs are, and of course, Sylvester is attacked by the dogs. And here, it's a swing, but we get the same outcome. Still funny either way, but it's a nice little variation. But now, the final gag. So Sylvester paints himself as a skunk, which hey, great idea. I thought this was really good. So he goes in and he finally seemingly wins. And then we just get that random gag of Pepe just showing up. And once again, as I mentioned before, it's interesting seeing another animation crew taking on another crew's character. What did you think of Pepe in this scene? At least I think this is probably the funniest Pepper's been since his first short.
I definitely would say that. And you mentioned having another unit do Peppy. And hopefully, maybe somebody in the comments have an eye for picking out animators. But I am curious to know who was the guy that animated this scene because I'm freeze framing certain poses and seeing like how Peppy looks in Freeling world, but it works well in this context. And I want to know who did the animation for this particular scene. And going back a little earlier in this scene when Sylvester comes out and he scares the dogs away with his skunk disguise and the classic dog like running away, fearful pain. It's been around since like the 30s, that particular dog sound effect, and it always makes me laugh every time I hear it.
Look at some run.
For a few more of the cues, time for a man. Okay, you get the point. In the opening titles, the song is called Piano, Bass, and Drums. And no, that's not like the orchestration of the song. That's literally the name of it. Piano, bass, and drums. During the Peppy scene, l'amour toujours l'amour, or love always love, and that's during the Peppy cameo. So how appropriate.
Ah, les petites skunks femme fatale. Come with me to the Casbah. The fond embrace, les smooch. The
Yeah, how appropriate indeed. But so as for a review, look, this one, a pleasant surprise. I really thought it was just going to be a simple little rehash of ancient tweets. Nope, it's its own thing, just conveniently reusing stuff from earlier short to save on cash because this was done roughly around just before the shutdown and so on. It's a strong start to 1954. This one gets 8.5 out of 10. It's not a standout, but man, is it a solid short. And if it's on, I'll definitely watch it. So 8.5 for me.
This is the second short in a row that you have the same rating as me. 8.5. Yeah, it's a very good short. Very funny. Is it the best Sylvester and Tweety short? No, but yeah, it's just very pleasantly surprised and just he's hilarious. That's no other way to say it. His shorts were hilarious.
Yep, definitely agree. And this one, as I said, strong start to 1954. So that will do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until next time, take care. Now, a running gag on this channel is, of course, how you say dog, like dog. So it'll be like the Simpsons gag, where I'll be like Milhouse saying to Bart, say the line. But it's like, say the line, Manny.
Dog.
Yay! That's the only reason you're on this one.
Who knew that my North Jersey slash New York City accent would bring so much joy to your audience?
Yep, that's the only reason the subscriber count keeps going up. They want to hear the dog talk, so there
They
you
want to
go.
hear more about dogs and coffee, and then you gotta drink a glass of water every day. And if you think I'm bad, folks, you gotta hear my dad. He even has even thicker accent than I do.
the fond embrace, les smooch. The eyes.
That putty cat's turning out to be an awful dinker.